Hi, I'm John Fallon from Saunders Insurance Brokers, and welcome to the first blog of what we hope is a series of blogs to do with risk management for the club and hospitality industry. Today we're going to talk about what is a very topical issue in cyber attacks against business and how it might affect your business. And I'm joined by Gerry Power of Emergence. Emergence are a specialist insurer in the cyberspace. They offer one product and one product only, and that is cyber. And as a broker, one of the things I love about Emergence is over the last 5 years, they've revamped their wording 5 times, which means they're, to my way of thinking, they're keeping up with the trends and are very nimble. And I think that we've got a good expert to talk to here. So Gerry, welcome.
Thank you, John.
So Gerry, that's a nice segue into the first question I wanted to ask you. What are you seeing in the claims space that affects clubs at the moment?
Thanks, John. So there's 3 things that are really trending at the moment. One is business email compromise, where employees are being tricked into clicking on phishing emails, clicking on attachments, opening links, and the malware is getting deployed. And then the criminals work laterally within the business then to get to what is the crown jewels. The second thing is we're seeing an increased severity in ransomware attacks. So the number of ransomware attacks are tending to be static, but the cost is escalating. So we had a situation in a club recently where the criminals got in, they found out from the management systems how much money they were making. They also then seeked out the evidence that they had a cyber policy in place, found out what the policy limit was, and then issued a ransom note for the amount of money that they wanted, and they included a message that said, "We know how much you can afford."
So clubs should be reviewing their limits constantly by the sound of that.
Very much so, because the new strains of ransomware are very different to the old ones, where the criminals are getting in, they're exfiltrating the membership database,
yep,
and then locking down the system. So once that happens, once the personal information of members is outside the organisation, you then have a notification requirement to the privacy commissioner.
Yep. Okay. So business email compromise, severity of ransomware, and the third one is, Gerry?
Is the exfiltration of the data. So what the new strains of attacks are these days is extracting the data, yep, and then locking down the system, demanding a ransom. Now, what's different these days is if that ransom isn't paid, what the criminals are doing is they're setting up auctions in the dark web and then selling that data. And what's more insidious is the media companies are sitting in the dark web watching the auctions so that they can buy the data so that they can then create a story.
So crisis management is also an important part of the coverage that's required for clubs.
And public relations management.
Public relations.
Especially with clubs, because they are a trusted member of the community.